It's me, Mario. Hello.
How's it going, everybody? I am Gilflo,
I'm Lord Spleech.
and we are the Video Game Archivist, and we are going to be talking about some Super Mario 64 today. This game has a lot to cover, doesn't it, Spleech?
Yes.
Alright, let's just jump right into it and get going. Alright, so first off, menu, right? So this is the very first game on the 64, and had this cool thing where you could just mess around with Mario's face, and
Yeah.
it was just essentially a demo, right?
Oh yeah, it was definitely just showing off the 3D and everything. But God, as a kid, I had fun just messing with his face.
Same. And this was the first 64 game I got when I bought my Nintendo 64.
Same here.
So, all right, well, let's jump into the game. So first off, we have save files here. We're gonna go ahead and erase this guy. And then we'll kind of talk about what I just did there, what each one. So, you have 4 files, so 4 people in your house can play the game. There's essentially 2 ways to complete it. 70 stars is the bare minimum, that's right here, and then 120 stars is complete 100%. So we're gonna jump into that first, kind of show it off. So you want to talk about the movement a little bit and what really makes this game advance for its time?
Oh yeah, it's just the fact is, once they introduced, it's like, okay, N64 out. We came out, since we're going 3D, let's put an analog stick in it, which no one had in a while. And just like the control itself was just smooth. You came in, move around. Like as a kid, you had to get used to it a little bit, but that's because as I know we're growing up, okay, we're used to Super Nintendo for a little bit, and then soon enough we're doing the 3D movement, but it's actually responsive. You don't, all of a sudden you don't have to like turn around like a tank or anything. You just point and go. Simple as that.
So I've kind of demoed it. You got the long jump, you've got the side jump, you've got the 1, 2. I messed up 1. See if I can get it. 1, 2, 3.
Nope, you gotta get the full run.
I'm using a controller that's not the best here. It's bad because I can feel the buttons when I hit them.
Sticking.
Yeah. I did it earlier. Anyway, then we have the side jump, we have the backflip, the ground pound, long jump.
Yeah, also the baby crawl if you just crouch and then...
Yep. So we can crawl around.
I used to entertain my mom with that.
You can also swim. I'm not very fond of the swimming mechanics. So, since we're here right now, before we get into the levels and talk about that, let's go ahead and jump in this cannon. This is something you get as the reward for 120 stars.
Yep.
Now I'm going to lodge a complaint, if I can hit it. Yep.
Well, you did lodge a complaint to the side of the wall.
So you see we lost some life here. This is the only Mario game that does this. We're down on power. Oh, and we have our life back. We didn't have to get coins, didn't have to get life, nothing. Just hit the water and respawn.
I mean, as a design, that is a technical flaw, but I wouldn't really complain about that.
Well, no, I don't complain. I think that was really cool how that happened.
Yeah.
Definitely makes it a little easier.
Yeah, and I think they were thinking that. You could have actually aimed towards the right a little bit more and just landed on the flat.
So we get 120 stars. We can now go to the bag of castle and be like, oh, hey, look, 1-ups. Oh, hey, look, a hat. Oh, look,
Yoshi.
And then we're gonna, if he'll talk to us. There we go. I'm gonna skip his text. It's basically the developers talking.
Yeah, it's like, here, congratulations, you won, but you can still have fun with the game. And then they give you 100 lives.
Was it 100? I thought it was 120.
No, it's just 100 lives.
100. Okay.
Ding.
Okay. So, and then Yoshi leaves. That's your reward. But the problem is, unless you're going to like speed run and really want to learn the game, there's not much point, in my opinion, to getting 100 lives. As far as I know, there's nothing other than emulator. There we go. And I screwed it up.
Of course, I will say it was fun to fly around, but yeah, it does kind of suck. It's like, as far as like a completion bonus,
Yeah.
it really is a very minimal one. But then again, one of the first, literally one of the first
3D
games,
game, yeah.
you know, especially on the N64, it's more or less, it's like, hey, you did everything.
So
A little fun.
as far as flying, I hate flying. I hate flying. Bleach does not, so it's personal preference, I guess. All right, let's get into the castle here.
And it's like, I definitely like the flying. I don't mind the swimming at all, actually.
So next we can talk about the different levels. There are
15.
15 levels plus 15 castle secret stars. We'll go in the first one. The first one you're going to see is right here. Battlefield. I can remember the first time jumping through a painting. Awesome feeling. Definitely awesome. So we're not going to spend a lot of time in the levels. We're just going to kind of talk about them. I think this level's perfect. For being the beginner level. What is it, upstate?
Yeah.
There we go. So you have all sorts of things. Huge mountain there. You get up top to it. We can go up to the top.
Yeah.
Kind of show it off.
And for a beginner level, it's like you don't have any really like actual danger. Like I knew in the first,
Chain
you know,
chomp. That's about it. And,
chain chop and like the water counting if you go in certain parts of the field,
Yeah.
because the water bubbles, if they hit you, you know. But it ain't, you know, something major. You know, you don't have a instant death or anything like that, unless you don't pay attention.
Yeah. So yeah, you can go up the mountain, and one of the other things I like about this game is there's secrets, right? Not just stars, but warps, which we can show off here. Which brings me to my first complaint moving through this level is the camera. I think I'm not going to take a lot of points off of it because I think a lot of N64 games had problems with the camera.
Yeah, I mean, there were some that were better than others, but I mean, that's one thing with this one. It's just the camera had, you know, okay, let's have a camera crew following you, and you can switch from, you know, the far view, or when you see the Mario symbol on the bottom corner, the close view, which there are times you use the close view, but the close view isn't not the greatest. I mean, it's there when you know an area well enough and you're just messing around. That's usually when I ever used it.
Yeah.
The problem is when it comes to actually moving the camera around, since it was, you know, the C buttons were your camera. It's like, okay, you had quick, hard points that the cameraman can move. So it's basically an actual distance the cameraman can move. And then, you know, depending on where you're at on a level, you know, you can go around so much before it stops, or you can go 360. But that literally depends. But it's like hard, rigid movement. So you can't always get the exact angle you want.
So let's talk about this boss fight. So this is the very first star you're going to get, and it foreshadows Bowser, which I love. So we're going to skip through this real quick, grab star, and move on to the next one. I don't think we're going to go through all the levels. We'll kind of pop in and look at them and talk about them.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to go play through each level. It'll take forever. So first level, very well designed. Honestly, like looking at it now, these levels are tiny. But
As a
back
kid,
in the day, they were huge. They were massive levels, and it took forever. Like, I think we got 70 stars in, what, 5 hours about?
Basically,
Two of us
yeah.
playing.
I know I definitely played a lot longer than that when I was playing
Yeah.
originally.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And granted, yeah, as kids, you know, this is one of our first 3D games. So, you know, one, it's us actually learning and getting used to muscle memory for the movement.
Yep.
But, you know, no, I will say, just as a head for, like, the later levels, I will say the later levels, obviously, they built in more challenge. But at the same time, it wasn't necessarily as fun to move around in.
Yep. So next level is Thwomp's Fortress. I love Thwomp's Fortress. I think I got all 6 stars in the playthrough on this one.
Yeah.
Ton of fun. Again, I think I played mostly on the early levels because they were easier, but I also thought they were really well designed. Next is Jolly Rogers. This one's pretty cool. So that one's there. Underwater level. Not my favorite. I'm not a big fan of swimming. What's up here? I don't remember.
That was the one of the secret stars where you're the underwater aquarium.
Oh yeah. So there's a secret star up here.
If you can get it.
I'm getting out of there.
Okay.
Also, there's little toads hiding everywhere that some of them give you stars.
It's just a few of them. All of a sudden, you talk to them at random. It's like, oh, then you get a secret star.
We did this one already.
So I know, like, I'm going through a playthrough right now, just in general for fun of it, since I got the 3D All-Stars. It's like, yeah, I'm just like, hey, which Toads give me the star again?
So then we have this one here. So far, all the first levels are direct right into painting. There is some secret stars hidden, obviously, off to the side. Up top right, there is, upstairs is the slide.
Which is pretty much the first secret star anyone's going to get. And it's fun because it is a slide.
So let's talk about the hats, right? So, like, I can't remember how we found that as a kid, but, like, I thought that was really cool.
Oh, no, it's basically, when...
They brought back the buttons, of course.
Yeah, the buttons from Super Mario World. But no, when we found that as a kid, it wasn't actually hidden because all of a sudden there's a light shining
beam,
through.
Yep.
So it's like, as a kid, naturally, it's like, let me look up at it. And that's when you discover it. Like, it was the little thing to actually get you to find it.
So can we also talk about how this is awesome, how it changes the
Oh, yeah,
Bowser,
definitely.
and then the floor drops out?
The instant trap.
So yeah, first floor, I think all the levels are well designed. I'm not a fan, like I said, of the hat, but that's me. There's nothing wrong with that. Downstairs, first star you're going to access, of course, is the ghost house, which, if you didn't know, there's one hidden in a ghost. You know what I mean? And that's
Which is
over
the
here.
big boo.
Yeah, you can see it over there. So, Ghost House, ton of fun. Again, and like looking at it now versus back then, the levels are so small. Like, you wouldn't even believe how small they feel.
It's like, in some ways, as small as we were back then, it felt even bigger.
Yep.
I mean, that could just be, fucking we're kids, but,
So we can talk about this real quick. So this is after you beat it. You have to play a level to get to the second Bowser. You have to go to the sub. Another cool thing, like the first one tricked you into thinking it was Peach, and then it changes to Bowser.
Yeah, and it's like, it was just a wall of wire you jumped through, almost like a Stargate.
Yep. So the downstairs really changes up because it was all paintings before, right?
Yeah.
And if I find my way around here.
And it's like, at first you'll find a painting which technically numbered wise is not technically the next actual course, but it's the one most people are going to go through.
And we'll jump into it. So yeah, we have that, and then over here, like you'd never find out unless you were going after that rabbit.
Yeah, the rabbit basically helps you discover that one.
Yep. Unless you're really good at it and you catch the rabbit without that.
Yeah.
And then over here, we have our last basement level.
Yeah, which you can dunk into the T-1000.
Basically, yeah, it's like liquid metal, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Downstairs levels, I think, are all pretty well made.
Yeah.
It's when the curve starts to change, though. You can feel the change from, hey, this isn't easy anymore. It's
yeah,
time
this
to
is
play the
when
game.
they're starting to actually, okay, let's design it so, one, you have to work with the movement or work with the environment and actually, actually have the challenge for it. And it's not the easy, quick get to it and
Correct, yeah.
that's it.
Well, even this main floor has a couple challenging stars, but it's not hard to.
Oh yeah, actually, just a quick back aside to the Haze Maze Cave level with the liquid metal.
Yeah.
I do kind of like that because that does give you the hint that you could find the metal cap in there, which you do.
Yeah, and
And
it's in
off
the
to the
second
side.
portal. So this is the part of the game that I would actually dock points on, right? So you have this level here, where you raise the water level based on how high you jump. I don't like that level. I didn't like the level as a kid. Still don't like the level now.
Yeah, and it's basically the worst part, one of the worst stars to get. Even though the star in itself isn't the worst, it's basically you have to get the painting high enough in the first place, so the tip-top reach point.
Yep.
Just that way you can get to this hidden, underground, model town. And in itself, it ain't that bad, as long as you just don't take too much time swimming and drowning.
Yep.
But the fact is, when you have water level low and then you're trying to, actually maneuver, first you're trying to find the actual points to raise the water level. And then it's, one of the worst enemies, I forget what they're called, but the guys with the wind-up toys that flip you.
Yep.
And usually most of the time when they flip you, you get caught in a combo that can actually kill you.
Yep. So, the other level I want to complain about is Tall Mountain right here. I don't like this level. It's not fun. I don't like the design of it. The water level at least had a cool design.
I will say with Tall Mountain, it's not a bad design in my opinion, but the fact is, it is a little barren.
Yeah.
There are parts that I do like and enjoy, but, I know with every level you get 8 red coins to get a star.
Yeah.
That is one of the worst ones.
Yeah. So, I know you're not a fan of this one, but I thought this was one of the coolest ones, even still. So you have this one where you go towards the painting, you get really, really tiny. Or you can go to the other side and go after the painting and get really, really big.
Yeah, which for me is a shame because I know in Super Mario Brothers 3, that's when they first introduced that concept. And as a kid, I loved it too, and I still love the Super Mario Brothers 3 version. As a kid, I did like that level, but I will say that's one of the not the best design levels for me, just because, as a dog coming back to it and not remembering everything, it's just basically, how do I maneuver around this level in the first place? That's the thing. Now, I do like a trick with this one. This is hidden wall.
So you're like, there's nothing in here, but wait, there's a painting there.
And then you jump into it, and then you got an actual...
It doesn't even shut
it. Yeah, it doesn't. It's the painting small enough that it can't shut it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, by the way, cameraman.
So, I think the 2 levels on the side are the good ones on this one. The 2 in the main floor kind of... Yeah. I don't like them. Now, this gets you 50 stars to this level. We have 3 things. We have the clock, which, based on where you stop the hands, is how the clock goes, how fast or slow. You have the Rainbow Road over there, essentially. And then this is a secret star over here.
Yeah, which is 1 flying level, which can be a challenge, but it isn't as bad as... In some ways, it's not as bad as trying to get all 8 red coins for a secret star compared to when you're trying to get the cap.
Yep. So I think that floor there, the levels are well designed. It's only 2, but I think they're really well designed. And then finally, if you don't have 70 stars, you will run on this staircase forever, just to turn around and realize you haven't ran up.
Unless you know the trick, but that's for speed running.
So, final Bowser level, it's the longest, definitely the hardest, but I think overall it's well done. So, let's talk about the difference between 70 and 120 stars, right? 70 stars, in my opinion, the learning curve, the challenge is just right. For a casual playthrough, I don't want to complete the game 100%. It's perfect.
Yeah.
120 stars is for those people that want to complete it, get a real challenge in the game, and really spend time learning the game, the movement. Like, the movement's so good, but it takes time to perfect.
Oh, yeah. And for me, it's like the 120, I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
But there are those challenging the stars that it's like, for someone that's trying to do it, there might be some stars that might piss you off just enough to where it's like, you know what, I'll get back to this later.
Yep. So let's go over some of the notes we have here. So I think it's cool how as you progress through the level, you unlock new things.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so we killed King Babam in the beginning of the review. When you go back in there, there's Koopa who now races you to the top because King Babam's dead.
And then pretty much it's after you keep King Babam that when you can actually first unlock the cannon in that level.
Yep. Then we also have the mini bosses in each level, right? So it's not just Bowser. Bowser's not the only boss you're fighting. Tons of bosses throughout the game. Like there's the 3-Boo fights the giant eyeball in the haunted house, things like that.
Well, that one I wouldn't count as a boss so much, but I mean, it appears more of a boss just because of how large it is.
Yep. Another cool thing is, the hat mechanics, losing your hat. There's 3 different levels. You have the bird in the sand level that steals your hat. You have the snowman that blows it off and goes to one of his snowmen down at the bottom. And then you have the monkey that steals it.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the monkey.
You take double damage. Like, you would never think that your hat protects you that much, but it does.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk about wall jumps and stuff, but this one, it's definitely easier than Super Metroid. So, like, when I think of great games with great movement, it's this and Super Metroid.
Yeah.
I think they got the wall mechanic correct in this.
Yeah. Because it's basically the actual timing of jumping off is not as bad compared to, Super Metroid. It was almost frame perfect.
So, before we get into the ratings, there's one last thing I want to notate about this. The cake is not a lie in this game.
Yes. There is cake.
So, let's get into the ratings here. So, how do we score games? So a 50 is essentially middle of the road. There's nothing good or bad. It's just meh. When you go up to 100, you get to perfect. Anything above a 90, we think, is one of the greatest games ever made. 80 to 89 is going to be a great game. 70 to 79 is a good game, a.k.a.
GG.
66-9 is an okay game. It's playable. You'll get some fun out of it. 51-59 is better than meh, but it's not okay. But it's not there, right?
Yeah, it's basically, you won't regret it if you rented it, but
if you bought it, you might be a little upset, especially if you were the one spending money on it. 40 to 49 is still playable, but it's not fun.
It's like you might pick it up once or twice, and that's about it.
Yeah, 30-39 is, the game's bad. You just, you regret it. You regret it when you play it. Once we get below 30s, when we get into the plague thing, 20 to 29, avoid it. Don't touch it. If it's below a 20 and hits the 10 to 19 range, you need to burn that thing outside with gasoline, unless you're a collector trying to complete a full set. 9-2 falls into the Shaq Fu. Okay, it's so bad that you have to pay someone to take it from you, right?
I'm pretty sure that website's still around where it's like they literally, you can donate copies to Shaq Fu.
To destroy
So
it.
just to destroy it.
And number one's a little foreshadowing here, but Superman 64, I guess Pac-Man for the Atari, and
Atari is, it's Pac-Man, yes, but Atari is the bigger name one.
Yeah. So that's what a one is. So just keep that in mind. So we'll go through each one of our personal things. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how the game stands up back in 1996 when the Nintendo 64 released. I gave the game a 99 out of 100. I think it's almost perfect. I think there's the few small flaws we talked about. I can't give it that perfect score. I don't think I've ever rated a game perfect before. There's some that came close. Split, you want to go ahead and talk about your 95?
Me, I gave it a little bit 95, but to me, it's like I did have fun. I did complete it back in the day. I probably just don't rate it 99 because it's, I even, went back, screwed around, as a young kid, I was like, okay, have mental games and, just run around and bullshit. Like, not actually even play the game, so to speak, the normal way. But, I probably just gave it 95 because, eventually I moved on. It's like, it's one game that it's definitely one of the greats. As far as our nostalgia type review. But the fact is, it's like even I can move on and then start, playing other ones.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's talk about, every game Rust, right?
Yeah.
And I know some of these reviews in the future are going to upset people. Probably not so much this one.
Yeah.
But games rust over time.
Yeah.
They really do. And
you get some...
a lot of people think Rust did a lot worse than others. That's because if you play it on anything but a CRT, it's going to look like garbage.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's move on to where it stands today. So Spleech's score dropped 4 points, mine dropped 9, and the main reason I dropped that point system is the camera.
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot of N64 games are going to take a beating for the C-stick camera.
Yeah. It depends on the game, but for this game alone, it's the camera.
It was the first one, though, from the system. But overall, it's still nice. It's still one of the greatest games ever made. I still recommend you buy it.
And it's essential just in general, just because it's like, hey, we did 3D, and also we took the time to make sure it felt fun in the first place.
Yep.
Plus, it's just a seminal game in general for 3D. And, I'm basically repeating my point, but still. But, yeah, it's the camera. The fact that it's so rigid, it would have been one thing if they designed it where, okay, it might have the C buttons, but as long as you hold down and get a smooth pan, but because of the quick jumps, and because they actually had, as you saw, when we're in the mirror and you can actually see the Lakitu, which is your cameraman essentially, and they even have a little in-game story where they're reporting on everything, just to have in-game explanation for a cameraman. But the fact is, since their character actually hits walls and only moves in certain angles and degrees, that it just hurts. And it's like, as a kid, we definitely got used to it, and found our perfect angles for doing certain stars and certain tasks. But as an adult, it does get frustrating, especially when it's been a while since you played it, come back to it, and then forget shit.
Yeah. So, I enjoyed it still. I'm going to play it again in the future. I obviously picked up the Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
And I did as well, and right now, I'm just going through I'm definitely going to go the completionist run.
Yeah.
And literally what I did is get every star I could before I fight the first Bowser fight.
Nice.
And I'm in the middle of doing the same thing before I fight the second Bowser fight.
Nice. So, absolutely, if you're getting into the N64, this is one of the must-have games, especially if you like other Super Marios. And honestly, I don't think this game was truly replaced in the 3D Mario scene until Odyssey came out.
Well, I know some people would argue with
Galaxy.
With Galaxy, which I did enjoy Galaxy. That was a fun game. Now, just as an aside, but you can tell with the Galaxy controls, I do agree with you. Odyssey definitely was better as far as controls wise because Galaxy simplified the controls, but it obviously simplified the controls around, its, full planetoid gimmick and everything that is Galaxy. It's still a fun game and everything, but I will have to agree. Like I said, it can be argued with Galaxy, but yeah, Odyssey was the one that truly backed all aspects of the 64 control scheme. Yep. Plus the hat and throwing.
So before we get to the overall rating, I want to talk about collector's value. So this game costs $34 right now. I think Super Mario 3D All-Stars costs, what, $60?
Yeah.
$60 until March when it stops being made in 2021. So, it's up to you. If you don't have an N64 and a CRT TV, I recommend going the Super Mario All-Star way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is a great pickup at 94 out of 100. We averaged all 4 of our scores. I think the game still holds up today.
Oh, yeah.
C-Stick takes a little bit of...
getting used to, and then once you get the pattern down, usually that doesn't bother you after you get the pattern, but before then, yeah.
So that's it. That's it for our first review. Hope you enjoyed it. You can catch us at Twitch at the Video Game Archivist. There's an underscore in between each of the words. We're on YouTube at the Video Game Archivist, and then catch us on Twitter at game_archivist. Other than that, we'll catch you next time. We are doing 296 N64 games playthroughs on Twitch, and then we're going to review them here. And then we're going to move on. We don't know what we're doing after that, but we're going to do N64 first.
Yep.
We'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in.